You guys asked for it, and here it is. My financial safety tips for when you are in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or really any country. Hey friends, this is Danny. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. And to those of you who have already subscribed to the channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are helping to make my dreams come true. International travel can be really dangerous. A lot of people talk about your physical safety when you travel. However, I honestly think it's very important to know how to not get ripped off as well. These are not going to be tips on how to save money. When I say protect your pockets, I mean just ways to not get ripped off while you are away. My very first tip for you is not common sense, but I think it should be. The first thing is I recommend buying your Brazilian currency in America before you go. Currency in Brazil is the real. It looks like the real or real, R-E-A-L, and the plural is reais. So you will hear me say reais in this video, and I am referring to the currency. I think a lot of people feel like they have to go to an exchange or a cambio or something like that to get the money that they need for another country. And actually, most major banks in the United States will actually sell you foreign currency if you want to buy it. So I go to my bank, I have multiple banks, but I go to all of them and I check to see who has the best rate. And I go with that and I buy my currency before I go. I don't buy currency for the entire trip. I just buy enough for maybe the first few days, depending on when I get there. If I'm arriving on like a Friday, banks may be closed on Saturday. And so I like to have enough money to get through the weekend. That would cover transportation from the airport to my Airbnb or hotel, wherever I'm staying. That'll cover dinner and lunch, food, whatever I need for that day. Those are the things that I like to have enough money to cover. My number 2 tip is to never exchange your money in the airport. You will get the worst possible rate at the airport. In the Atlanta airport, I think they only have 2 Travelexes. In the Rio airport in GIG, there's literally like a whole wall of them right before you get to the baggage claim. And by and large, they all offer about the same rate. It comes out to be the same, but the rate will just not be good. That's why I say get your money in the US and don't get your money at a cambio or at an exchange or whatever you call it. Let me tell you why I don't do cambios. You're either gonna get a great rate, like, dollar to reais with exchange fee, with a very high fee, or you're going to get a not so great rate with no fee. So either way, they're gonna get their money out of you and you're gonna come out the loser. So that is why I say buy your currency before you go. And I know you're wondering, how do I get money for the rest of the trip if I'm only getting enough for the first few days in America? That brings me to my number 3 tip. I use ATMs to get money. However, do not use the ATM in the airport. I will repeat this again. Do not use the ATM at the airport. Don't do that. Why? Because our cards have these chips on them, and our banks will lead us to believe that they are encrypted and you're safe and nobody's going to be able to hack your card. It is all codswallop. It is all fugazi and shenanigery. Edric's card was hacked in the airport at the ATM. Money gone. Okay, and I know another girl, it happened to an Italian girl that I met. She was boo-hooing because there was nothing in her bank account and she had like another 3 weeks to go in the country, and the Italian bank was telling her it would take them at least 2 weeks to get her money back. Like, you do not want to find yourself in a situation where your bank is saying, we can't really verify that your account was hacked and we don't know how long it's going to be for us to get you your money back. We're working on it. So don't use the ATMs in the airport. There are people with card cloners standing nearby, and they only need to be a few feet away from you when you put in your PIN, and you're done for. You're done. You know, so just, I don't care how good your bank is, it is going to create problems, because thankfully Edric's bank account was protected and we were able to get the money back immediately. So, however, the card was locked and it was a whole thing. You do not want that headache. Do not use the airport ATM. That should be my number one, but I feel like it's going in order of how you experience things while you're traveling. Number 4, pay with cash whenever you can. I use my card probably more than I should when I travel. I use cards in general more than I probably should. However, when I'm buying things on the street, I definitely pay with cash. Every street vendor in Rio takes cards. Every cab, you know how even cabs here in America, most of them don't actually take cards. Every cab in Rio will take cards. Everybody accepts cards. Those little machines are easy to get. They're not using Square. They actually have like swipe machines, like what you would find in a store. People on the street have them. They work on Wi-Fi. It is a whole thing. Everybody has them. However, I do not trust everybody. So I try to pay with cash as much as I can, because again, if your card gets hacked because somebody's standing nearby with a card cloner, you're screwed. I think it's safe to say you can use your cards in restaurants, in bookstores, the shopping malls if you go to those. But on the street, don't do that. Number 5. I've been an advocate of number 5 ever since my first trip to Rio. Number 5 is use a credit card that has no international transaction fees. Capital One and Discover have no international fees on their credit cards. So I have been recommending them to everybody. If I can get an affiliate link, I will put it somewhere in here, because I'm telling you, those 2 cards are the 2 that I use the most. I get cash back, I get travel points. Those 2 cards are the ones. That's what I recommend. So if I get an affiliate fee, I will put that in the video. I'll put that in the description link for you guys so that you can apply, and this way you'll be protected when you travel to Rio de Janeiro. Capital One has no international fees, neither does Discover. What I learned though is that the same 5% bonus cashback that I would get at the grocery stores with my Discover card, I get that at grocery stores in Brazil as well. It's not just in America, it's also there. So that's why I love those cards. This way, you don't want to swipe your card and then get the surprise of them translating it from Hey Ice to dollars and then tacking on a second transaction for 5%. You're like, wait a minute, that's a 5% upcharge. You don't want that. It seems like a waste of money, so credit card with 0 international fees. That is what you want. Number 6, if your card does have international fees, know what the fee is. Before you swipe, know what it is before you leave. Also, know what your daily limit is before you leave. I've seen this happen to people. It actually did happen to me on one of the trips where I hit my daily limit getting money out of the ATM. The thing is, with an American card, you may run into the issue of in America, if you have the money, the ATM will still tell you you're going above your limit. You can't make this transaction if you're at an ATM. The banks don't, the ATMs don't do that down there. So you'll get out X amount of reais, and then when the bank translates that to dollars later, they'll lock your card because they think it's fraud because you went over whatever your daily limit was for ATM withdrawals. It's a thing. So know what your daily limit is, change it if you have to. Know what your transaction fees are, avoid them if you can. So, and international fees could be, not international fees, but international ATM fees can be exorbitant because one of my bank accounts, I think it was like, you pay the ATM fee for the ATM because it's not your bank. Then they make a international upcharge, like a percentage, they mark it up, and then they charge you a fee for going to just getting cash out. It's a whole thing with some banks. Do your research before you go. Don't waste money. Number 7, determine prices before you accept services and goods. I ask how much. Quanto custa? Quanto custa is probably the phrase that I say the most. Tudo bem? Quanto custa? I want to know how much everything costs before I tell them, yes, I will do this. And a lot of things you can haggle about. Obviously, if you're in a shopping mall, can't haggle prices. However, if you're on the beach and you're buying bikinis from the guy on the beach, and yes, you can buy bikinis on the beach, you want to haggle with him a bit. A homegirl of mine negotiated the best possible rate for bikinis. Like, we were all like clamoring for these cute, colorful bikinis that he had, and we were all like, I want this one, I want this one. And she was like, no. How much for 2? How many for 3? Go down some more. How many if we buy 4? How much is that going to be? Go down some more. You can haggle, with people, but you want to make sure you know how much things cost, because again, there are people who will try to rip you off, not because they think you're stupid, but because they think gringos are rich. Gringos are anybody that's not from Brazil. It's not just white people like in some countries. Gringos are anybody that's not from Brazil, and they think all gringos are rich. So they will try to rip you off, and it's, and not in a malicious way, just let me maximize what I can get here. Which I guess is pretty malicious, but neither here nor there. Caipirinhas on the beach should cost one thing. And if, you don't ask to see a menu or to haggle for, hey, if we keep buying these and we're going to come back tomorrow, how much can you give them to us for? Or we were here yesterday, can we get a discount today? If you don't do that beforehand, you don't know what you're going to get charged. And again, that to me is wasting your money. So always ask how much. And when you're on the beach and you get a chair and an umbrella and a drink and a coconut, some of the barracos will give you like a little running tally, and they like stick it in your umbrella, and you can see, like they'll add things to it, and then they stick it back in the umbrella, like, what do you call it, arm or whatever the case may be. Some of them will do that. A lot of them are not that sophisticated. They don't do that. They have like a little book ledger in the back that you can't see. So just keep track yourself. If they're not giving you the little ticket thing, keep track yourself of what you purchased, because I've had to go off because they thought I was paying for, like, we met people and then they moved over and sat with us, and then the Barraco worker thought I was paying for all of their stuff too. No, I'm not paying for their stuff. I'm paying for me and this guy. That's it. So this guy. Okay, so that's know how much things cost. Determine the rates before. Also ask if they take cards. But again, if you're on the beach, I don't recommend it, just if you need to. My last tip, and number 8, is literally just my tip for anybody who's traveling anywhere for anything. Research, research, research. Arrange your logistics ahead of time. In the airport, there's a long queue for taxis and a long queue for Ubers. There's buses, there's vans, there's all kinds of ways to get from the airport to the South Zone, which would be Copacabana and Ipanema. The airport is actually in the North Zone, so it's about a 40-minute drive from the airport into, you know, what we would know to be like Copacabana and such. You want to arrange your logistics ahead of time because the rate that you get in the airport is going to be twice what it might be otherwise. So if you have friends, see if someone can come get you, or even if they can't come get you, if they know a driver who will come get you and charge you a nominal rate, like things like that are really, really important. If you want to go out somewhere like Madureira, which is, you know, it's not far, but it's not directly on the metro line, do your research. You don't want to just wing it and then you gotta shell out a bunch of cash, or you get lost and you go to the wrong place. You need to do your research before you go. If you're going into a favela, find out what the status is. Is it dangerous right now? How easy is it to get up the hill? How much are the moto taxis? You know, it's so many things that you might want to just look into before, so that you can avoid, again, wasting money or putting yourself in a dangerous situation. So those are my tips. Again, much like the physical safety things, none of this should stop you from having a good time. None of the research and keeping track of your money is not something that should stop you from having a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed these. If you would like some more tips for travel to Rio, please let me know. I will make videos. Comment below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because I enjoyed making it for you. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel today so that I can reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you again, and I will talk to you guys soon. Ciao. Codswallop, it is all fugazi and shenanigans.